Guests and callers are not necessarily those of this station, its management or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One bottle here, full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The one by one care products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today. The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson firm can be reached at 470-499-4704.
Shoulda, 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 shoulda. We both got to make an effort, and I'm willing to meet you halfway. We both got to be sincere if our wish is to see a better day. Somebody please tell me why so much animosity? Hate is too much a burden to bear when love is so much easier to share. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. We gotta change, we gotta change, we gotta change. Let's change the situation. We gotta change, we gotta change, we gotta change. Cause we're heading for a confrontation. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. It's all up to you and me to make peace a possibility. We can let it slip away.
Yes, it is.
Or we're destined to repeat yesterday. Shoulda-do-do-do. Shoulda-do-do-do. Shoulda-do-do-do.
Greetings. Well, welcome to another edition of Reasoning Thursdays with yours truly, Lady D, Mama Acid, and you, the listeners. The number's right here is 706-955-2001. That's 706-955-2001 is the number to get me right here in the studio. So make sure that you spread the word that we are here for Reasoning Thursday, another Thursday. Well, I'm soloing it for a little bit. Mama Acid's going to be joining me um, hopefully soon. But nonetheless, I have you. I have you all, the listeners and the persons whom are going to interact with me. So I'm like really, really okay with being here today. Solo for a minute until Mama Acid joins in. Well, there's a couple of things that we wanted to discuss. Lots of things been happening. Lots of things. Well, let me give out the number one more time. It's 706-955-2001. 706-955-2001 for you to get me right here in the studio. But there's a lot going on, and it has been going on. Um, and lots of things. So, first of all, I didn't really get to watch so I don't know if you all did. And if you did, you could call in and give me your opinion on what was the speech, because I was manning the studio. So I didn't get to see the full speech of President Biden, and wanted to know, what do you what did you think about the speech? And there was a little snippet here and there that I was able to see, and I was able to see the GOP, Tim Scott, and a little bit of what he had to say. I was able to do that. But yeah, so what do you think about when he says America is not racist? you know want to really know. What's your thoughts? I heard Kamala's thoughts, and Kamala says America is not racist. So what would be your thought as to America not being racist? Greetings to you, Don Minot. Thanks for checking in. What would be your thoughts on when you say America is not racist? I guess America is a state. So I guess we can't necessarily say America is so I think that part of it of what he said, because I heard that that's a big hoopla going around right now. And a lot of persons have their own feelings in regards to saying that yes, America is racist. But it's not the entire America that's racist. Think about it. It's not the entire America that's racist. It's some persons whom are in America that are racist, right? So therefore it really isn't America racist. And someone was reasoning with me on it today, and I'm trying to explain to them that if you're looking at, if you say Jamaica bad, it's like you saying the entire Jamaica is bad, when it's not really so the entire America is not racist. You have racist people, you have racist persons whom are in America that are, you know not doing that are causing a big hoopla and a big thing. Yes, caller, how you doing?
Yes, yes. You're very low on the radio.
I'm low. Okay, I'm gonna pull myself up a little bit more. I'm thinking that I'm at the buck of it, because I've gotten a couple of other calls as to it as well. But I've pulled it to the buck. Big up yourself, Oliver. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in, Carla. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the microphone. All righty. I thank you for checking in and letting me know that I'm sounding a little distant. So thank you for that. Alrighty, so bless up. Check me. How do I sound a little bit louder? I'm hoping that I sound a little bit louder. I'm close to the mic. We're gonna do some more fine tuning in the studio, so don't worry about that. There's gonna be some more fine tune going on in the studio as we're changing around the looks and appearance and all these things in the studio right now. So just bear with us as we continue to upgrade the system. If you want to call in and reason with me, speak with me, the number right here is 706-955-2001. Like, share, go to our YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, so you know when we're on, whenever we go live on in the studio. I want to say big ups to you as well, Hyacinth. What's up, cuz? All of the England, the UK folks, want to say big ups to you checking in. So I would like each and every one Just bear with us for a little bit as we sort out that issue. Well, back to the governor Tim Scott and saying America is not racist. Is to me is not the country that makes it racist. It's persons in the country that makes it racist. So yeah, America is not racist, but persons in the country is racist, and there are racist things that are happening in America, in all around the world. All righty. So let's clarify that, because my someone called me with it and was arguing with me on it and saying, oh, they're not racist. Rate. Okay, so yeah, America is not racist, but you have racist persons in here in America and all over the world. All righty, all over the world. So I had to touch that because I know that the individual is listening. What do you think about Rudy Giuliani place being raided? I'm waiting for Mama Acid. She's gonna log in, and this is that these parts are her forte more so than Lady D's own. But I want to know when they put the home in it as well as the office. I have questions to that. You know what I mean? Because is he keeping documents at home? Especially private documents at home. So I want to hear what Mama Acid has to say on that. So she's going to call me back on that. But as with back with the someone sent me a comment um by email. Cassandra from Tennessee sent me a email, and she said, um you are not there was a lady in she saw an article where there was a woman that said this to her neighbor. The neighbor must have asked her about a job, a position at work, and if she thinks that they could get her in. So the lady says, you are not right, you are not the right color, honey. um and she's telling how persons at her job perceive persons of color. She's letting this person know that you're not the right color for the job. And then she got fired. It circulated on the internet and she got fired from her job. Okay. So, my question, she wasn't on the job when she said this, right? And she wasn't on the job. She was at her private residence. It's her neighbor that she said this to. So the neighbor posted on social media. Man, I'm telling you, I'm glad when I was younger, social media wasn't around, because may I tell you, trust me, nothing but laundry. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, but anyway, listen. She posted on social media, and when she posted on social media, now the boss, her job people that work at her place saw that. So they in turn turned around and fired her. Okay. So the question that was sent to me is, are we asking people not to be themselves, to be fake? What's your thoughts on that? The number right here, 706-955-2001. That's 706-955-2001 is the number right here. And that's the question. That's the question that was sent to me. I think it's Cassandra's her name. And she wrote in and says, when persons of another ethnic group, of just another of just a regular person, express themselves or tell the truth to a situation, and they're fired for it, does it mean now that persons cannot be real? Is your entire life to be fake? Mama Acid, greetings are welcome.
Greetings. I just heard about the fake life.
Yeah, so I received the email on that, where there was a white person who told a black person that they could never work where they work because they're not the right color, honey. So this person was at their home, privately at their home, and the young lady, the young lady, the melanated skin lady, videoed the interaction and posted. So immediately, she's being called racist, she's being called this and that. So the question was, are we asking people to not be themselves, to be fake? And if so, in now she didn't elaborate any more than that. But what I'm always on the fence. So I go on the fence and I try to weigh it on both ends, both sides of things. So I think what she's saying is, if you're in your own private home and you express yourself, how you feel, how you see things, and if that is going to cost you your job, then can persons be real anymore? May it be in private or in public?
Well, now let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's the question.
When we talk about the reality of what people are doing,
Mhm.
can people be real? Let's point to a couple of examples. Don't you think that would be better than to
Go ahead.
decide? Let's just pick a couple examples. Let's say
Go
I
ahead.
pick one and you pick one. You want to pick yours first? Because I already got one in mind.
Go ahead. Usually, what's your example? Because I
Two
kind of
weeks
saw
ago,
the.
we
Uh-huh.
saw a drill sergeant who is at this point on still on duty go after one of his young neighbors and basically say that he didn't belong in the neighborhood and he wanted to escort him out and he pushed the young man and he broke the young man's phone. The next day, well, they actually said the young man didn't live in the neighborhood because they didn't know him. So the next day, some of the people from the neighborhood that he didn't know
Mhm.
showed up at his house, and so did the police because they saw the video and they were pressurized by the community to do the right thing. Now, in my opinion, the right thing was if the man needed some water, or maybe he needed a chair to sit down while he was walking, maybe he was tired. Say, listen, son, are you tired? Do you need a little seat? Do you want to sit on my grass for a minute? Or maybe my wife could get you some lemonade, or maybe even just some water. We got time. Do you need help to get home? And the young man could have then said, well, sir, actually, I'm okay. And, I'm just glad that you're concerned about me. And I'm just going to go ahead about my business and let you go ahead about your business. Now, that's how we all wish that had played out.
Mhm.
That's not how it played out.
Right.
Why? Because the
They were not being fake.
because the sergeant was being real. He was being real. He's inflicted. He's infected. These people that have this infection, America could have came up with a remedy for this a long time ago. We find remedies for stuff immediately now. So why can't we find a remedy for this itis?
Mm. Yeah.
Bad mind.
So the question still remains:
Well,
do
what?
we
What? Wait a minute. You didn't give your example.
remain fake? Do we? So everyone needs to be fake, even in the comfort of their home. I'm not speaking
Professional.
of. I'm not.
Professionalism.
I'm not even speaking of persons walking in the neighborhood, because that's that's definitely a no no. That's, but you on your property, and you're on your property, and you're speaking how you feel to a next one. Is this person should have been saying, "Well, sure, come down to my job," because they do accept persons that looks like you. That's your color. Or is that what we're now asking people, that not to be real? So then who do we know who we're around?
Oh, I want to answer that one with a past life experience.
Mhm.
I used to work for a company that had a manager by the name of Karen.
Oh yeah.
I had a baby angel that used to travel with me all the time named Little Dee. So little Dee used to always come to me and say, "Mm-mm, watch yourself. Mm-mm, don't do it. Just pay attention." Little Dee used to keep me on point because Karen would trigger me. She knew how to trigger me. So mm, I will say this: when you know that people will manipulate you and trigger you, if you don't feel like playing, just don't play. Just
On a
say nothing.
professional level, like
That's what I did.
no, 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 but like you're saying, on a professional level, persons need to just follow the protocol. But when you're in your private home, you're still able, you feel that a person should be, I mean, a person should feel free to speak their minds in their own home and on their own property.
Personal protocol clauses in a lot of contracts these days preclude that.
Uh-huh.
Some
Yeah.
people should know what they signing before they sign up for these jobs.
Yeah, and that I definitely agree with. I don't think that anyone should be able to talk to you anyway on a company's property or anything such as. You have to follow what the, the rules and regulations are for that establishment. But in this particular case, this individual was at her home privately in at her own residence. She wasn't on the job, and she was in and this is what she lost her job based off of what she said in her own on her own property on her own time.
Sounds like an NBA, NFL problem to me. They're the only people I know that get paid big money to keep their mouth shut. And every time they get approached about something and they say something, the owners really want to come to them in a different kind of way. We saw that this week with LeBron James. LeBron was like, do what you like.
Yeah. But anyway, well, I guess the young lady who wrote the question, um I guess we don't have necessarily have an answer for that one,
I mean, I just
because I would.
constantly think about this type of a question when I'm going to be replying to people that maybe won't see me often or maybe don't know me or we're not really consistently conversing because they may not be versed in my reactions. And that's one of the issues is that we all now have to take we have to take a moment, each one of us, and we have to allow it to sink in. You know, marination is required these days after you macerate.
Okay. Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to be swallowing some big bits and they are not good to digest.
Okay. All righty. Well, let's move on to something else. And you weren't on the air when I was speaking of Senator Tim Scott and him saying that America is not racist, and Kamala Harris also, piggybacked off of that and said that America is not racist, which in some ways I can understand where they're coming from. Yes, America is not racist, as I was saying to persons. You have persons in America that is racist.
Right.
So we do have a caller. Greetings, caller. How you doing?
Hey, Lady D. My response to that question is that
Pick up,
I do
caller.
believe that everybody's liable for what you say, but it's like nowadays you have to be careful of what you say because you never know who is recording you or who is trying to use something against you. The simplest thing you say nowadays is racist or is this or is that. It's like you have no freedom of speech anymore, and that's just my opinion about that. Now I feel that that young lady was wrong, in many ways. Maybe she got very offended for the lady saying that, but the lady was just being real, I guess, to her and telling her that, it's the job is not for her. Maybe she's trying to prevent her from being discriminated, you know. There could be a lot of reasons on why that lady said that to her.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be a confidential, it was a person to person conversation. It had nothing to do with her reporting to the job, but maybe she felt, bad and
Okay.
to do something and try to use it as racist. Because everything we say nowadays is racist, if you notice. It offends somebody, offend a Jewish person, offend an African American person, it offend a Spanish person, offend a Chinese person. But I mean, it's like people don't have freedom of speech anymore in this world
Yeah. And
because
it
they always have something to use as a clutch. That's just my opinion.
yeah. And they did have issues, the two neighbors. But and that was a valid question, that the Cassandra, I think is her name. I thought I jotted it down, but um that what she posed is that, yeah, even though we may be in an argument or whatever, I said what I said, and me and you were arguing. You took this video, me and you arguing or whatever. You video me, you put it on the internet, and now
Hmm.
I lost my job.
Yeah, she
So,
overstepped her boundaries
so
to me
that is the
because it was supposed to be a person to person conversation. How
Mhm.
did it end up where it went? You understand? She took it too far. She took it a step further, which wasn't necessary.
But what about the
If you had
employer?
animosity or beef with that person, leave it between you and that person.
But
Why
Carla,
are you trying to jeopardize somebody from having their job,
yeah, but Carla,
from keeping their job?
what about
Yes.
the employer? Because this happened on her own private time.
Right.
This is at her home. This is on her property, and she was recorded on her property, not necessarily
Right.
doing
But
anything illegal,
but
but then her
I'm sorry, not
boss,
mean to
uh-huh,
interrupt you,
uh-huh.
but I felt that when it comes to the employer, I felt that maybe they knew that it was already on social media, so they had to do something about it just to show that they are not racist, anything to cover themselves. So
Yeah.
the only thing that they could do is take her job away from her.
So then the question,
Because yeah,
still comes back: are we to always be? Is a person expected to always be fake,
To
even in
always be on duty.
to be on duty, even at their home? Are they not allowed to be able to express themselves because of fear of losing their job now? If
but
it,
in this world, at least just my opinion, in this world nowadays, as I said before, you have to be careful what you say. Especially if you have a beef with somebody, they're going to use anything they can against you. You
yeah,
understand me?
yeah,
So that was her animation against her.
Mama,
She went and she said she spoke what she was thought she was saying that to help her, but it ended up messing her up. If you understand what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah,
It
I
ended up
totally,
incriminating her instead of maybe she didn't mean it as nothing bad. Maybe she was just trying to say, well, in this job you can't go there because they ain't gonna take you because you're African American. But maybe the lady, because they was beefing, she took it the wrong way,
Yeah.
and she had recorded her, and
Yeah.
then she used it because she was mad at her already. Okay, even though it was a person to person conversation.
Yes.
Okay, she went a step further and said, "Hey, I'm gonna put this on social media." And
Right.
somebody on social media, because your job nowadays, they've been on social media and following your stuff. So maybe somebody from her job saw it and
Yeah.
reported it to the boss.
A lot
And
of these jobs require you to give them your Facebook and
he was
other type of social media
But
information.
that's
but
all he
then
could do, or she could do, was fire her
it comes right back to
because
the
they have to.
same but then it comes right back to the same thing. Are we
You
to
have
always be
we,
fake?
we have to.
Ooh.
There's no more thing called freedom of speech in this world. I don't know if anyone has ever noticed it, but
Yeah.
every word that comes out of your mouth, if it's something that can even incriminate you in any way, form, or shape,
Mhm.
they will use it against you, especially if it's somebody who doesn't like you. Because there's a lot of fake people out there who act like they like you, and they
They'll go
really
back 10 years and find something.
use against you.
Yeah, but definitely on the streets, you know that. In school, on your workplace, you know that.
Even in person,
But
it's
if
not only
but
on
if
street.
but if
It's in person too. It could be your own family member.
but if I am at
You
Could
never
work,
be.
if I am at if I am at my own home, and if I can't be real in at my own home, thinking that I can lose my job,
hmm.
where can I be real at
It's
if
not where, it's who.
you can
but
be real
but you
too?
also got to look at it like this. Her
There
and
you
that
go.
other person was beefing. You
Yeah.
understand me? It doesn't matter if she was in her house or not and she was just having that discussion. Her and that other person was beefing, and that other person manipulated her
Yeah.
by recording her and using it against her.
So you see, it
You
brings you
understand me?
back to
Drawing
whom?
cards.
Whom?
You understand what I'm saying?
I
I'm
definitely, I totally understand what you're saying, and it's true,
it,
and it's so sad,
it
but
is. It really
in
is.
fear of you losing your job, that's
Yes.
what it's coming.
And
That's
right
what it's
nowadays,
down
you
to.
have to be careful of what you say, who you say it to, where you say it to, when you say it to, how you say it to. I mean, there is no such thing as freedom of speech.
Well,
You
maybe in
cannot
certain
freedom of
instances, okay? I want to throw this in
Hold on,
here.
Mama
It isn't a
Acid.
law anymore.
Hold
It
on,
isn't
Mama
a
Acid
law
wanted to say something. Go ahead.
because this law has stipulations now.
Okay.
You only have freedom of speech if you don't say this. You only have freedom of speech if you don't say that. You ain't got no freedom of speech because that means that you can't say what you want to say.
Right.
Everything is going to be used against you. So
Hold on.
what's the best thing to do? Shut your mouth.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hold the
I
line, caller.
mean,
Don't go
that's just
anywhere.
how I see it. I'm
Don't
sorry.
hold the line, caller. Don't go anywhere. Mama Acid, what was you getting ready to say?
I was going to say it doesn't matter as long as you have a job or someone who has a way to punish you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Once you become independent of the system
that's
and
the
you totally hold all your own cards,
yeah.
you can say what you want.
Caller.
I'm waving my hands around because I'm letting people know if you talk to me,
Yeah.
look, I got teeth in my mouth that fight because I tell the truth and they want to hold it back. Okay?
No blossom
Mm.
falling out. Ah,
Blossom, I'm gonna tell you just like this.
that was a good one.
When we tell the truth, we free our soul. And
Use
if
the
we sit on the truth for too long, like I say, your teeth gonna make it come out.
Okay. All righty. I have one more. Don't go anywhere, caller. Numbers right here is 706 955 2001. 706 955 2001. Now, there, I guess everyone should have, well, whom follow Jamaican news, um, should have saw where there was um, uh, MP, and we discussed it a little bit last week. George Wrong is what is, is his name George, right? But they're saying George Wrong. Okay, that's the lingua guan right now. So now he was caught on video beating up his girlfriend, his common law wife,
Committing a crime,
beating her up.
committing assault.
Even pick up a stool, hit her with. I'm not even gonna elaborate on everything,
It was ugly.
but
He
it wasn't. It
physically
wasn't.
hurt her.
It wasn't a pretty thing. Now, the call has been coming out very strongly. Even the members of the parliament and so on, they recruited him, and But my question is this: now, there's a pastor by the name of Bishop O'Neill Russell
Oh, Jesus.
from Ark Covenant Holy Trinity in Savlamar, um, Jamaica, and that individual says that if they get rid of George Wrong, that he is going with him.
Hmm.
I said, and then I'm gonna
That's the preacher.
have
That's the preacher who said that if a woman and a man is equally yoked, if the man don't buke the woman, that he is not truly in charge of his household.
okay. I do have another caller on the line. Caller 860.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My
This is Don.
but greetings. I was catching.
Hey,
Greetings, Don.
I
Um.
had to call because I totally disagree with your previous caller.
Okay.
I totally disagree with her. There has to be
Why is that?
consequences. There has to be consequences for what people say. You can't just go around saying and hiding behind what is it, the First Amendment or whatever, hiding behind whatever amendment you want to hide behind. We have to speak up, and there have to be consequences if we want to stamp out racism in this country. There has to be consequences. Now, I just went back and I did the research on the whole conversation,
Okay.
right? The lady said to her, "You are not right. You are not the right color, honey." That's
Mhm.
what she said. You're not the right color, honey. And then the lady said to her, "Am I the N word? Am I the N word?" And she said, "Yes." Multiple times she said, "Yes, you are."
Okay.
Right? And the news report said she attempted to call the police on the black woman.
Okay. Well, see,
Okay.
So
I don't
people
know
must
the
read.
full.
People should go and read and look up the truth before they give their own opinion. I went back and I
No,
looked. I just read
listen,
it a while ago.
No,
listen.
no, no, no. Wait, Don. I just
No,
put this
no,
on the
listen,
air.
listen, listen.
I
I'm
just
only
put this
going by the question that was asked.
right.
I wasn't going because I saw the video or anything pertaining to that. There
Mhm.
was a question that Lady D asked, and I was just responding to the lady to
and
Lady
and
D's
hear
question.
this. And
If
hear
I
this.
had knew the extent of the question, then my opinion would have been different.
But hear
But
this.
now that you have
To
explained what was said, it's a totally different opinion I have for that.
to Don
Because
and the
I didn't know
caller. To
about
caller.
police and all the N number and all
Caller.
that, the N word.
Caller.
Yes.
And to Don. And to Don. My the question was, are we expected to be fake all the time? Where can we be real? So if I am in my own property, I'm not talking about being in the park or at a supermarket or in any in any outdoor activity or anything.
Mm.
I'm speaking of on your
No, no,
own
no, no.
property, you and your neighbors is having words and you all are arguing. And then that
No, no, no.
argument is
Lady
okay.
D,
Go ahead.
you cannot support that. If I'm paying mortgage next door to you, what rights have you to come and antagonize me because of my skin color? When I'm paying the mortgage just like you are next door.
When you say
That's
okay,
the question.
I don't.
I'm paying my mortgage. You are paying your mortgage,
So
and you want to come and harass me at the fence. Come by my fence or come to my gate and harass me. And you're going to tell me you want to hide behind free speech?
but is that
No.
I'm on my that is a grounds for me to lose my job because of how I feel that because I'm expressing
Times have
myself to you on
changed,
how I
Lady D.
feel
Times have changed.
because oh
Times
well
change. Consequences.
and that is what we just reasoned on because we were saying that it looks as if now in this time persons no matter where they are have to be mindful of what they say, who they say it
And
to, where they say it
and that's
at.
what I said.
So
That's what I said.
this is what society life has came to, that there's no longer free expression, that you
Right.
have to be fake, you cannot speak your mind, how you feel, anything, because now it is grounds for you to lose your livelihood, even on
Oh,
your own property at the fence, at your own property. This is not locally out of anywhere. It's me standing in my yard and I'm looking at my neighbor and I'm saying, boy, I don't like the way you look. Your nose big, your mouth broad, your this. I mean, I could be breaking it down. And then she posts
not,
me on.
not only that, Lady D, not mean to interrupt you, but not only that.
Uh-huh.
My question to this person, Dan, is that you as an African American male, look at your other African American male and call them nigger.
What?
Doesn't that also
Excuse
give
me.
you grounds
Wait a minute,
of I
caller.
don't use
We
that
don't
word?
use
Caller.
that
That's
word.
why I never said
Caller.
you did.
Wait a
Never
minute,
said you
caller.
did.
Caller.
But there
Caller.
are
Wait
other
a minute,
African
caller.
Americans out
Caller,
there
I'm
that's
gonna pull
calling
you
each
down.
other nigger.
I had to pull you down. I had to pull you down because we don't use,
I'm
if you
sorry.
are going to say something, you can say the N
I'm
word,
sorry. The N
but
word.
we do
I'm sorry.
not
The N word. My
use that
apologies.
word over here on Reasoning Thursday. I thank you for your apology.
My,
We
my
you know,
apologies.
we don't do that. We don't do that. No. All right.
Sorry. My
All
apologies.
right. And we have to take it easy and we have to listen that when a next person's trying to answer or interject. I know we're running out of our feelings. It's going. And yeah, so but we have to reason. And when we're reasoning, we're agreeing to disagree and to respect each and everyone's opinion on the program. So I just wanted to get that clarified to all our listeners, all our callers who may want to call in. We agree to disagree respectfully.
Can I add something, Lady D?
Yeah, go ahead.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Don is one of our regular callers. We use his song at the beginning of the show. We really love Don. But for those who don't know, Don is recalcitrant. He don't care what you say. He don't care about anybody else's feelings. Don will tell you exactly how he feels. I am the same way. I believe we are entitled to our opinion. But just like I said before, we have to respect certain principles. We may not like them, but I personally have been shut down by Lady D for certain words. And I have learned that there are certain things that you just can't do if you want to maintain order. I agree with the caller that no one should be burdened with having to carry a false narrative. But also, just like Don said, in this day and age, if you have to serve a narrative, you have to serve it from A to Z.
And that's also what the caller was saying. The caller was saying that in this time, and that's why I say sometimes maybe we don't hear one another when we're speaking because we're heated at that particular moment. And maybe one person may say something a little off than the next, so then the whole conversation gets thrown off. But the caller had
No.
also saying, I'm here calling you caller, but you didn't give a name, so that's why I'm calling you caller, no
We
doubt.
know who it is.
So I'm saying
I'm
that
Sandra Brown.
Sandra Brown. All right, big up Sandra Brown. And so with what Sandra was saying as well is that in this time and age, we have to watch what we say, how we say it, where we say it, and to whom we say it. That's and it
And she
is,
said, because we don't know what may happen after that.
yeah,
You don't know what their intentions are with
yeah,
what you say.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, they will try to use it against you. You don't know these devious people nowadays in this
Mm-mm,
world. And that's
mm-mm.
all I was saying. I didn't know the extent of the situation.
Right.
I was just voicing my opinion to the question. So as I said, Don, I apologize if I did offend or anything to you. And the words that came out of my mind, I apologize for that to the
That's
audience,
fine.
the
That's
listening
fine.
audience also, and definitely to you, Lady B. But
And
I was
Mama
just
Acid.
saying that, is it fair that us as African Americans can call each other names, but you take it offensive when other people call you names? That's all I'm saying.
Ooh,
That was just
that's
my
for
question, and I
that
wanted to know
that
what is
reason.
your opinion towards that.
That reasoning right there is a whole nother is
It's strong.
it's strong, and
Yes.
it's a whole nother program that we must address with melanated skin persons speaking to each other in certain ways that we do speak.
Respect.
Right,
Hmm.
because we can say it to each other, but then when somebody else say it to us, it's racist. You understand what I'm saying? So you're
Listen,
being double standard.
yes, so we,
Can I
we
interject? Can I interject?
go ahead, Don.
Sandra, Sandra,
Absolutely.
like I said, not all of us use that word. You're painting
I
with a
know.
broad brush. You cannot do
Mhm,
that. Not
mhm.
all of us
No,
use that word. That word cannot
I'm
be used
not
in my
putting.
house.
Wait a minute,
My
Sandra.
kids
Let
don't
Don
use that
finish,
word.
and then you respond.
Okay.
Go ahead, Don. Finish.
First, okay. First, I'm not
All,
putting
no,
it to an
all I'm saying is
individual.
No,
that
no, no.
we cannot
Sandra,
paint it. We cannot paint
Sandra.
it
Wait a minute.
with a broad brush.
Let Don complete his statement, and then you speak. So
Okay.
Don is on the floor now. Go
Okay.
ahead, Don.
All I'm saying, Sandra, is that we cannot paint all of us with the same brush because not all of us uses that word. Many of us despise that word. I am one who despise that word. Okay, so you
Yeah,
can't paint
me
all of
too.
us with the same brush because I don't use it. And none of my friends can use it around me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
we do have
I,
persons
I
whom
wasn't,
do use
I
it,
wasn't.
and
I'm sorry.
we
Go
do
ahead.
have persons whom do use it, and we need to reason on that as to their mentality on on using certain words to even each other, and the respect
Right.
that they have for themselves, if they have any respect for themselves. So that's why I
Right.
interrupted and said that that's another show that we're definitely going to need to do, just to talk to our brothers and sisters on how we talk to
That
each
That
other,
word.
word.
how we speak to each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
In its
Because Dan,
entirety.
I wasn't. Dan, I'm sorry, Lil D. Dan, I wasn't putting it towards you. It was just a question that I was asking
Right.
because there are individuals that I hear, not individuals that I know, but individuals that I hear. You can be out the street and you hear it, and it disgusts me.
Yeah.
You understand
Well,
me? But it was just a question that I was just asking.
alrighty, that's
Everything that I
cool. That's
answered is
cool.
just a question.
We understand. We understand. And questions are to be answered or addressed. And it is. I want to run back over, and I'm not, and because Don called and we came back to the question as to the color. And I thank both of you for your input on that. I wanted to run back, and Don, since you're on the line, the pastor that came into defense along with Sandra and Mama Acid, and the listeners, number 706-955-2001 is the number that you can call in. A pastor comes out in defense of the JLP MP um, being relieved of his duties, and and says that he's leaving the party if they get rid of George Wrong, George Wright. So I would be a little disturbed to be a member of Ark Covenant Holy Trinity. To know that my pastor feels so strongly that he will leave his party, leave, I mean, just abandon everything because a man was was brought forth showing that he was so abusive. And this is a pastor. What's your thought on it, Mama Acid? Then we can go in the route, Sandra, Don, late women's first. Go ahead, Mama Acid. Your thoughts on that?
Esther
Esther
Black.
Black.
Big up
Big
to
up to
Ross
Ross
Esther
Esther
Black
Black.
in
And
Falmouth. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and we had talked about it a couple years ago. And it was all about this discussion of the violence towards women, not just in Jamaica. We were talking about everywhere. But
Yep.
he specifically mentioned this to me recently and said, um, there has to be a change because the people who make the rules don't follow them. And someone else also said to me, one of the gully kids, I love those kids. Me and those kids fight more than anybody. That the reason they had the lockdown in Jamaica was so that the bad people who have all the money can go out and do what they do without people being able to know what they're doing and with who and when. It really kind of concerned me because they say that a lot of the trade, as they call it, which is a real nasty word, comes directly from members of both sides of the party. And one of the things that Astor Black suggested that a lot of other people have suggested, one of them is Don Marnite's friend, um, Asante Amin. He said it when he was on my program a few years ago when I was still doing Bad Gals Radio. We need to make an example of those who refuse to follow the rules because without following the rules, you only perpetrate more problems. And the biggest problem that we have right now is that women are carrying the burden of everything, and we are not only carrying it, we are being abused while carrying it. So we're being abused by those we are carrying. That, from Astor Black's summation, has led to a couple things. And one of the things that he threw at me, which I didn't really want to discuss, was homosexuality. And he also said that the reason that a lot of these women are now becoming members of the defense force is because that's the only way that they can defend themselves because they're tired of being snatched out of their houses, their doorways, their yards, and left in puddles of blood in different random spots on the island for no reason because there are no examples saying that if you do this, you'll be punished. They only punish the men who shoot each other. They don't punish the men who beat the women to death. They don't punish the child molesters. They don't punish the pedophiles. They don't punish the men who engage in buggery. And I don't want to discuss buggery, but I'm saying they don't get punished. And where do we find most of them? In positions of power. That's why the doctor's death has still never been resolved. I'll never forget it. I don't think many people will. Who would kill someone who was a professor at Mona? I mean, this man did nothing to nobody. He was killed in his home, literally. So, bad mind, bad actions, eventually there's nobody left.
Go ahead, Sandra. Did you wanna?
I have
Did you
no.
want to res, respond on that
No,
or no? Okay.
no.
Don,
Yes,
did
I'm
you?
here.
Would you like to respond to that? Um,
Jamaica, one of the biggest problems Jamaica has is corruption from top to bottom. That sounds like corruption to me. That sounds like that like the politician is looking out, the pastor is looking out for his politician because the one hand wash the other.
mhm.
That's what's going on right there. This pastor is looking some kind of political kickback from this
Right.
politician. Are they are friends? But
Yeah.
my view is that he should go to jail.
Yes.
He
Yes.
should go to jail.
Hmm.
Make an example
Yes.
out of him. He's a minister. He's a member of parliament, and you're doing that.
Yes.
And then the police. They try. I saw it in the paper where they said Jamaicans are mad with the police for trying to downplay the thing. The
Yeah.
police refuse to do their job and prosecute
Right.
this man
Mhm.
because he's a member of parliament. That is corruption
Corruption at its best. Hmm.
at the highest level.
Hmm.
You know, so that's how he
Yeah.
should go to jail.
Yeah.
But
That's
then,
how I
but
feel.
then on the other side, I read where they're saying that the lady refused to come to step forward and give a written statement
As
and said
well.
she's not gonna come to court and all of that.
She
And
said she was scared.
talk she's afraid of him. One of the other, he's a member of parliament. He's powerful, so
Yeah.
she might be afraid of him.
Yes.
She
You don't
said
want
she's scared.
Yeah. So she can't come forward. You know.
Well, Don, I want to ask you a question. Do you think that when we have cases like this, that there should be special prosecutors set up and special protections set up for people who are in this position where they are terrified because of the power of the other individual?
I thought there was someone for that.
Is there? I haven't heard of it.
should be. There should be. There
Hmm.
should be.
Okay, we
There
do.
should be. But like I said, the old political um system, the old judicial system in Jamaica is corrupted. The
Time for the third party.
the political system, both of them is corrupted.
Yes.
We also have another caller that just joined with a 839. How you doing, caller?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. How are you?
I'm
Um,
blessed.
I was listening.
Big up caller.
I'm in Santa Barbara, and I'm listening to you. And I'm from Jamaica, and it's real bad as far as how they treat the women and how the men rape the women. And I think what should happen is like the newer generation should get more involved with the politics to change these things. You see, because it's been going on for years, for days. A little girl going to the shop, they get hold down on the corner, and all this stuff. It's been going on for years, and it's about time people start to speak up and stop this thing. You see, I know this with Jamaicans. Jamaicans don't protest. They don't get out in the street and protest to make a difference. They sit back and they talk and they do this, and I see this. You see, in America, people come out and they stand up for their rights. They stand up when they're tired of stuff. I have a lot of female in my family, and I'm telling you, as a kid at 11 years old, I had to fight the guys off of my sisters and my cousins, just to defend them because nothing is put in place to defend these women.
Yeah.
And this is a bad thing to do. And I'm so ashamed of it for being a Jamaican to see this. And even the musicians, some of them are worse than anybody else. Because I'm in the music business too, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
And this has to stop. People has to speak up. Whenever a child is molested, the
Yes.
parents, you got to pay more attention. They got to be able to speak freely.
Yes.
And what's going to change that is the people in power. And if they're not doing their job, vote their asses out.
Yeah.
Because it's a very terrifying thing.
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, definitely agree with you
So
with that.
that's my comment on that.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you for listening. Big ups to our
Thank you.
California folks tuning in. Um yeah, that's something, you know. I would definitely, for myself, I would not want to be a part of that congregation. To know that he feels so passionate about it, I would not want to be a part of that congregation.
Look at how big the congregation is, Lady D. It's one of the biggest ones on the North Coast.
Mm,
It's quite upsetting to see these preachers who push all these negative myths upon the people in their congregation who actually are about 75% women.
mhm, mhm. It's sad. It's sad. When I saw that, that's something that I definitely had to bring up. And I just wanted to let you all know, if you did not know, on another note, the three men with Ahmaud Arbery case, they are now being charged with a hate crime on top of the charge for murder. So we definitely
We
have,
predicted that.
yeah,
We
we have to
demanded it.
say,
Once we started screaming and hollering and
yeah.
started saying things to people, and really all of these crimes that have come out lately, the civil rights infringements and violations are so flagrant. You know, there was just no way to deny most of what had happened, but this last one in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, where Andrew Brown was shot in the back of his head
Yeah.
and in his arm. He was fleeing being shot, and the United States has a fleeing felon law, which says to the police, if a person is fleeing from you, you cannot shoot them in the back. So, two questions here. We know this is going to have to go on next week, but this is so that folks know that next week we got some popcorn cooking for y'all right now.
Okay.
Question number one.
Mhm.
How did you shoot me outside of my car if I was in my car? All of the body cam video shows that I was in my car, that I never engaged you at all physically, and that you physically shot me through the glass and the steel of the car. That's how the bullets penetrated my body. That's question number one.
Mhm.
Question number two. Why is the sheriff's department investigating a crime that it committed?
Because there's a crime that was committed.
No, they committed the crime. They can't investigate it. The state is called in any cases where there's a crime committed by a police locality anywhere in the country. That is the law of every state. That the top of the tree investigates any fallen fruit. I've already looked into the North Carolina law. They've evaded it. And the second thing that they did that really brought all of this to a head is that the prosecutor immediately started speaking as though he was the defense attorney for the seven police officers
Mm.
instead
Okay.
of the investigator of the crime.
Okay. I just want to know. Well, I see that the judge will not release the
Well,
body cam.
no, 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 no. They release a viewing to one person and one attorney. You can
Right.
see it, you cannot copy it, and the visuals will not be released until after he has had between 30 to 45 days to assess the culpability of damage to the case if he chooses to release it. Listen to what I said. He can choose to release it in between 30 and 45 days if he, the judge, assesses that the culpability will be limited.
So there's still a possibility that it will not be released.
Exactly. But there is another route around that, and they are working on it right now. The
Okay.
route around it is to go to the state Supreme Court and ask the state Supreme Court to release it based upon the fact that there's an active investigation going on and that this will allow the defense, who would have to file a Freedom of Information Act to get it. They would have to file a FOIA request to get it. And when they filed a FOIA request to get it, then the judge has to see the FOIA request, but the FOIA request goes to the Supreme Court first. If the Supreme Court approves it, it then goes to the judge, and the judge is then compelled by the Supreme Court to either tell why he won't release it or to release it. So I've already looked into that step. Now, what happens is if he chooses not to release it,
Mhm.
I'm still kind of looking around at that side of it because it's kind of interesting.
If
And there's a lot of things that about that really matter to all of us in all the different states. But I wanted to say to people that this is a model case that people need to pay attention to in terms of sus. Okay, so suspect rights matter in America because a suspect is not a criminal. A suspect is not convicted.
right,
Until you are convicted, no one can serve any sentence upon you. I'll say it that way. Because Walter Scott in South Carolina brought this all back to us when he was running away and he was murdered by a cop who shot him in the back when he was literally running
right, I remember.
away. And if the camera had not caught it and we had not seen it, we wouldn't know that. That's why the judge doesn't want to release it because he knows that the minute he releases it, we get to see all seven cops' names, and the truck also has a copy of the tape, and the truck has the clearest vision of the bullets flying into his car because when they shot him, he started backing up because he was trying to get out of his driveway. So they said that he committed vehicular assault upon them. After they shot him and his car started rolling back, he was trying to get away. Bam, the car hit the tree. So how could they have been behind him if the car hit the tree? How could he have assaulted them if the car hit the tree? That would mean that they were between him and the tree. So if this is Walter Scott and this is the tree, they would have to be here. So
Right.
if they're between him and the tree, they would have been able to prove it. They don't want to release the tape because they can show all the angles that they and
Want to be known.
one of the most important things about this that really goes back to last week that we got to give Lady D 10 minutes to talk about this because we promised last week we would discuss this, and I am very much in favor of her discussion. I think it is absolutely brilliant.
What's that?
Police are taught to do one
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
and
definitely.
she wants to discuss that. And my feelings on it are this. Let's talk about what happened with this case because they showed up using AR-15s. Those are assault rifles. They sent a SWAT team to serve a
Listen,
warrant.
n-
A warrant.
nothing is going to change until the training is changed. That's just my opinion on the entire thing is that nothing is going to change unless the trainings change. So it's for um the government, Congress, whomever, to
The
put
Senate.
different laws, Senate, to put different laws in place on how they're training for combat is different, I feel, than some civilian situations, you know. And I think that the entire curriculum that they teach these police officers need to be reevaluated. They're
Okay,
taught to
I want to throw something in. Don't forget about that part,
okay,
specifically about that part.
they're taught to kill. You know, they're not taught to wound. They are taught to bomb two times. And if you still pose another threat, you're gonna get another four. They are taught to neutralize the offender. That's all they're taught. So when persons are saying, why don't you shoot them in the leg or shoot them in the this, they weren't taught that. When they have their target out, their target is the head, the chest, the big areas. They're not trained to shoot the little areas. And then you run the question of trying to get those little areas and hurting someone else.
Being sued.
And being depending on the area that you're in, you know. So we it's no excuse for what is going on, but it is what it is. They're taught to kill. And until the training is different, we're going to continue to have these same scenarios. The way that they used to position things on their personal, all of the police officers and so on, the way they're used to position things was always in the offense of shooting to kill. So these tasers and these things that they are starting to incorporate and put it, they already have the mind frame to shoot and to kill. I would say maybe 85% of their training is shooting to kill. Because that little taser is just, oh, pull out the taser and hit them with. So their main training is on shooting to kill. So there has to be another way than just shooting to kill a person.
And also, the color of your skin plays a lot of part of that also.
Yeah.
Because I saw a video where this this Caucasian man, they're getting him out of the van, and he's literally fighting these police officers. So he ended up taking the police. He fought them so bad that he ended up taking their police car. But
And
then
that's
I'm saying to
always,
myself, if it was an African American person, the
we wouldn't get that
situation would have
chance.
been different because he wouldn't even have the opportunity of going that far.
We wouldn't get that chance. And
No.
then there comes, and that all back again to training. Sensitivity
Yeah.
training for persons
Training,
towards
they, oh,
persons
I'm
of
sorry,
color, and
psychological
not
also.
when
They
and
need
not generalizing every every melanated skinned person as being a person
yeah,
of offense, just like Don was saying in regards to the N-word. It's not everyone uses that word. It's the same way it's not everyone that is violent. So it
yes.
all comes back to training on our police officers being trained to be more sensitive to persons of color, melanated skin person.
I need to throw this in there.
Go ahead, throw it in.
How do you then explain why black cops from other countries who become cops in America shoot more often than black cops who are born in America? Yes, I pulled that statistic out too.
Say that
And
again.
it shocked me till my feet
Say that.
almost sweated.
Repeat that. What was the question again? Say that.
There's some statistics that are being formulated by UCLA in a violence project that they're partnering with several other institutions. And I was just looking around on their website about it. And I wanted to understand how nationality and shooting and police played a part, not color, nationality.
Mhm.
So if you were a nationalized American and you are black, that means you're Haitian, Jamaican, you from any other country, but you're black. And you come to America and you become a citizen and you get a job as a police officer. They shoot black people quicker than their white partners. I wanted to understand why the statistic really stood out. And I wrote, and they said the reason is that the training teaches them that black people are inherently more dangerous and that they have to treat black people differently than white people they encounter. Also, Hispanics. This is the other thing about Hispanics. This part really pissed me off as a person who speaks Spanish and other languages. I've encountered this myself. They immediately walk up to you and say something in Spanish to see if you'll respond. If you don't, or if you respond in another language, they then try to figure out how to deal with you because they want to place you on a racial intelligence scale. So when people say something to me in Spanish, I have a tendency to respond in Italian.
When they say something to me, it's
That's European.
no
And they look stupid when you respond in
I said,
European.
I said no comprende. I don't.
No, no, I don't say that.
But I'm
No, but I'm saying I say something that's more nasty.
now when you say persons in another country is quicker to shoot another person, melanated skin persons. Um, I would say, I would say on that, you said that they were trained.
In the course of their training to become police officers in
Right.
the
They
academy,
were trained
they
to
are taught that these statistics show them that black people are more inherently violent, therefore dangerous, and they should be treated differently
they were
than
taught
non-melanated people.
they were taught it, so therefore if they come here, they need to be deprogrammed. So this is why we still
No, they
need
had to be programmed.
training. We
They
need
came here deprogrammed.
no, you
They
said
had to get programmed.
no, you said did you not, if maybe I heard you wrong, did you not say that persons overseas that come to America and become police officers, they were taught in those countries to shoot?
No, when they came to America, they were taught in America.
Well, that there, oops, there you go. That's the training. That
Look,
brings
one of
us
the
back
biggest
to what
statistics of
that
who
goes.
does the most shooting in terms of like people from different places in the world, which
Oh,
was shocking to me.
I'm gonna touch you. I'm gonna touch you. Something just popped in my head. So when you're saying that they are trained to do that here, then that answers the question as to why police officers respond to melanated skin persons more aggressively, because
Even if
that's
they're melanated.
enough, even if they're melanated.
Because Dominicans fall into two categories, which makes no sense, where it's actually just one category.
And
There are black Dominicans and white Dominicans. And listen, that's the same thing all through the Caribbean. But once they are in the statistics on this particular study, they don't fall outside of racial categories. They fall in a group by nationality. Because I wanted to know if there was a way to break it down even further. And the lady said to me, no, because they just gather group statistics about.
I'm not sure if Sandra want to say anything or if Don is still on the line. I'm not sure if he's still on the line. I'm not sure whom is on the line. But the numbers right here, 706-955-2001. That's 706-955-2001. But ASID, they're all trained the same way. But then you singled out,
No,
wait a minute,
no,
you singled out persons that come from third world countries, as they call them, Caribbean countries, African, I mean, third world countries. So you're saying persons from third world country, when they come to America and they've been trained, they kill melanated people even more than their white counterparts?
yes, that's what
So
the
when we're
statistics
so
say.
when so when so when we're arguing and marching of Black Lives Matters because a lot of persons are focusing mainly on white police officers killing black melanated skin persons. So you're now saying that in actuality, it's more melanated skin officers that are killing melanated skin persons.
Not necessarily killing, but shooting. These are shootings. They track the shootings. They also track the deaths, but they track the shootings. You are more likely to be shot by a Nigerian American or a Jamaican American than you are by an American from LA or Detroit as a cop.
Why you
That
think?
was really freaking me out at one point when she
Why
was
you
telling
think
me about the
that? Caller,
statistical breakdown.
do we have a caller on the line?
I think our
Oh,
callers left because the
I think
subject
our
matter
caller.
got a little.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now that is interesting. The numbers right here is 706-955-2001, 706-955-2001. We want to encourage you all to go to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, and share, tell a person,
Facebook,
go to our Facebook Live,
Instagram,
Instagram, go to it all and just spread it and share it and all these things. And
DAPowerhouseradio.com.
join the fabulous programmings right here. You have Let's Gripe on a Wednesday night. It was an awesome
Big
program.
up Tonia. I saw
It was,
y'all.
it was
And
an awesome,
Marcus. I was watching them.
yeah. Big ups to Tonia, Marcus, and McKenna. Acid. And do make sure that if you're missing the Lady D show on a Saturday, you got to be able, you must join me in
But
the
yeah,
show.
it was booming. Y'all got to listen. Y'all, if y'all missed, woo,
Yes, and All About Love, Nothing But Love on a Sunday night from 7. So
with the
I had
oldies.
to drop those in there. Want to say big ups to our sponsors, Honey Child's Kitchen, One by One Kia, the Hinkson Firm, Unique Total Care. Want to say big ups to all of our sponsors. Acid. Back to that question. It's 8:26. You know we've done gone over our time,
I mean, we
but
catching up, right? Because we
but
didn't have power.
catching up. Yeah. Acid. That's an interesting thing. That's an interesting research you did. There are
Also, you
more.
know what else I wanted to know
Uh-huh.
about the statistics of the ones that came to the country that grew up here that were naturalized and went into the military and then left the military and became cops. I wanted to know how many of them were foreign.
I didn't know
Did you
statistics like
know that most
was being
black people who go in the military and come out do not, who go in and come out that came from other countries, they use it to get their educational benefits so they could become something other than a cop. The ones who don't want to do anything else, they become cops because they can. That's what freaked me out was the statistic of who becomes a cop. After I had been to the police academy and I done met all kind of people with all kind of degrees, and then I get this, and I'm like, wait,
I'm not even talking about the statistic of being cop. I'm talking about the statistic of persons coming from overseas, third world countries are the ones that are shooting more. So back to training. It I guess it always comes back to training. It always comes back to training of the police officers. Okay. All righty. We're gonna move on to our last one right
the
here on the
last part of that. We gotta work with the last part of that. Remember, we still gotta talk about the, the young lady that was murdered, Makisha Wright, or I forget her last name. I think it was Wright.
yeah.
Well, now that you've watched some of the videos, some more videos, and I've watched some more videos, let's just hit it one more time, and then we'll talk about that holster before we go. Hey,
Greetings, Tonia. Greetings, the Let's Gripe crew. We just mentioned you here.
she must have heard us talking about her.
um, What do you what do you want to discuss about that? Because I think we've
Your your feelings about it last week were that she still had the knife in her hand and that she was still dangerous. So they were defending themselves by shooting her. I think that's what you said. They were defending themselves because they were trying to save the other girl from being stabbed.
they weren't defending themselves for say the officer from what I saw last week. Okay. I had saw, as I stated, the young lady was in a position that she charged after the young lady in the pink, and she had a knife, and it was in a stance of like she was going to stab this person. Now, that is where I come back with training. The officer could have pulled a taser, maybe. They could have did anything other than shooting, but I can see the reason to why the officer felt that they were he was protecting someone else's life. Now, that was my stance last week, which my stance really have not changed with most of what I saw, but it has brought me to a part of into a place of being even more outraged because of the fact that there were so many adults that was there that could have de-escalated the situation. The police took 10 minutes, I think it was, to even get there.
Hmm.
Okay. The father was there, other adults were there, and I feel that all of them should be charged at this point. The young lady was, from what I observed after last week, Thursday, to this week, is that when I blew it up big on the screen, the young lady, um, Makisha, was at the car. There were two adults there. The other young lady and her, I guess, I don't know if they were having words with one another. The young lady, Makisha, rushed the other one in the black, where she went down, and at that time she had the knife. She fell kind of sawed on top of the young lady, jumped up, and ran in the position to stab, or may have been trying to scare the other young lady into feeling that she may would have wanted to stab her, but she had a knife at the time in her hands in the position where she could have possibly hurt this other young lady. Now, the father was there. The father kicked the one in the head that was on the floor. Okay. When at the time when the police car came, and this is where we, I don't know, I understand that we're young and our heads are hot, you know, and sometimes when we're young, we're not even thinking. We're not even thinking sensibly, because sometimes when I look back at some of the stuff that I did in fights, I have to say, really? Are you stupid? So this is where I come back to the parents, to the adults that were there. The story that I read and I heard was that there was two previous foster kids that came to the house. The house must have been in array or whatever, and the other one was saying to the other one, you need to clean up, and then there becomes a verbal argument. Okay. I don't know if they had a knife. According to the recording, the young lady said that there were some adults here trying to stab them or something to that effect. You can elaborate more on that if you choose. My thing is, if these phone calls were made when they were outside or inside, where were the adults to de escalate all that went on? Where were, back in our days? Yeah, my mom said make sure you beat their butt before you get home. Don't you come home and tell me you lost no fight. That's a different time.
It
That's a
was a
different
fight.
time. And it was fist to fist. It wasn't knives and guns. So where was these parents? And this is a foster.
And we could see one of them parents there.
One of the parents, then there was two other adults there. There were neighbors. People sicken me so badly with this video. Everything they stand and video. The time that you took to stand and video, why did you not go over there and try to de-escalate what was going on?
World Star.
The young lady saw, and this is where I went to the left on when I was saying that the respect for authority is really of no more.
Right.
My days, I see a police coming, we out of there. We running. These youngins now are standing there because
They don't care.
this police car pulled up. The young lady in the pink was walking towards the police car. The young lady charged the other one, jumped from her, and went after the other one. I don't think there is much time. And even as Don was saying last week, suppose she really had stabbed this young lady. Then what would we be saying? Why the police officer stood there and didn't do anything? Yes, I totally agree that the reactions towards melanated skins persons and Caucasian people is two different reaction. And like you've stated, the training, it comes back to what you said on how they are being trained to look at melanated skins persons as being more aggressive than a Caucasian person. So therefore, they deal with us shoot to kill. So I think it's a systematic thing. And it has to start from the Senate. It has to start from those places where they're going to make rules, and they're going to make rules and regulations on how these people must train. And if they're doing combat, they must learn to distinguish combat from civilian situations. You
All
understand?
this warrior training got to be outlawed.
But I think all of them should be charged. I think the parents that stood there and did nothing to de-escalate, all of them was escalating the situation. No one de-escalated the situation. And
From the videos that we see, it surely didn't happen.
especially at group homes, we are all taught CPI on how to de-escalate things, how to take down individuals when they are irate or they are loose.
Just get a wet towel.
I threw
Get
my
a
knee
sheet.
out of whack. I threw my knee out of whack because I took down a 6'2" guy and sat on him because I learned that in my
And he
training.
couldn't do nothing about it.
Nothing about it. So
You heard me say, get a towel and a sheet.
all of these police, I mean, caregivers, they are trained on de-escalating
They're
situations,
supposed to be.
and they are trained on how to restrain an individual from causing harm. So I think the parents, all of these bystanders, all of them is responsible, including the young lady, unfortunately, of her death. Okay. We got Let's Gripe says that house is toxic. Why would a disagreement would lead to a fighting outside and a knife involved? Because there was no one there that was being an adult.
They
There was,
said the lady who was running the house was 60 something years old. She was older than me. She's almost 70. They
it
said
doesn't
that she was
matter.
partially impaired. She couldn't really,
She
move
wasn't
around. And
acid. She wasn't there at the time.
no, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. The basis of what they're saying about who would have been in control of the house. And then when all this started, supposedly they called a father. The father came over there, and instead of him telling the women who were there talking to his daughter, to leave, they basically stand there. He could have stood in front of the door and said, "Look, I'm sorry, this ain't happening. You my daughter, and you going back in the back of the house. Close the door."
Get in the house.
Why the father didn't do that?
As I was reasoning with someone with my son, and my son was driving, and someone bad drive to him. Someone, cut in front of him, and he's there getting mad and ready to zoom in front of that person and take his. I said, "You better calm down." I said, "Listen, this is road rage. This is not the time for this madness. These people got to have guns in their car. They pulling out.
Everybody got a gun.
And then later on that evening, I heard that there was a shooting on I-20. Road rage. Everyone just needs to calm down. You know what I'm saying? I
Can we
it,
talk about the
it's sad.
talk about the holster?
Go ahead. Talk about that.
The holster is an important concept that was discussed earlier this week by Bo of the Fifth Column. Shout out, Bo. He suggested that the federal government become involved since they are the ones who supply the police with all of this money to buy weapons and they give them excess weapons and so forth. So he suggested that they employ a weapon device that would monitor the situation more or less. So this is how it will work. You would have a holster that your weapon would go into. The only way you can withdraw that weapon from that holster is you hit a code on the holster, which is real easy. And once the holster unlocks, it automatically calls a supervisor, begins recording from your camera and also the camera in the vehicle. And if you with a partner, it records from their camera too and saves all of the evidence from the second that you hit the holster. Once it unlocks the gun and puts it in your hand, it also sends EMS, a supervisor, and if necessary, it will send a backup team. So, how it would really work is once the police started having to pay for all these extra EMS calls
Mhm.
and other things that they got to pay for that they didn't need because the police are out here just popping open their weapons, they then have to fill out report every time they pop open that weapon and that holster. You have to file a report in order for the holster to be re-enabled. So when your holster's not working, you not working.
I
That
don't
would
know
mean
about
two
that.
things. One, it would mean that the cops would have to be accountable because there would be a federal database of each time that holster was used and what happened, and all the documents would be right there with it. It would be non-tamperable. And the second thing is it would compile a database of which police agencies waste the most money with false calls and runs and commit the most crimes. I think it makes total
When
sense.
when you say false runs, if I mean
False
if
runs.
persons are calling in, and saying that there's a crime being committed or whatever, they have to go and check that
No,
out.
no, no.
Are you?
False runs are when a cop pulls somebody over for no reason,
Uh huh.
like Dante Wright.
Right.
It would have, when they went for their guns, it would have automatically triggered all of that and it would have all been recorded, much more than what we saw. Okay. We would have seen it immediately. It would have been all recorded. It would have sent immediately EMS, all the things that should have been there that would have made the situation more understandable. Because this woman was a trainer for the police department. She's a 29-year veteran. She's also the president of the police union. So she knew what she was doing. And one of the cops that was standing there, that was looking at her, that was saying to him, just get out of the vehicle, just get out of the vehicle, he was the one that she was training. The other cop was already had his badge. So it was two cops and a trainee. She trained him by killing someone. When she screamed taser, she had her gun in her hand already. Instead of her gun electrocuting her hand saying, put me down, she just went ahead and just shot him by mistake. So I think every time they can't give the gun the code, it should just shock them. They should have to drop it.
I don't
And
know.
in fact, what should happen is the magazine should just automatically
I don't know about.
discharge from the weapon and and lock it, prevent it from being used.
I
I
don't.
think that would prevent a whole lot of cops murdering people. And another statistic that we've left out
But
up
would
to
they?
this point that's kind of important,
Mhm.
the amount of cops who take warrior training. It is not recommended or paid for or endorsed by most police localities. In
I
Detroit, they were going to have that guy who conducts the warrior training come here last week and do one of their little conferences for the police department. James Craig, our killer chief, they were going to have it. Guess what? They surrounded the police department headquarters with "We Detroit Can Breathe" and said no. They said no, and they had his name on a sign. Then they let everybody else in the community know, and everybody started calling, complaining, calling the mayor's office. And the mayor had to call them. The white mayor had to call a black chief of police to tell him, don't bring a white
as,
killer who teaches warrior tactics
as
Hello?
into a black city to
hello.
Hello?
further inflame the situation.
One
Yes.
Why
moment.
would James Craig do that?
Wait a
He
Did-
needs a new
wait a
job.
minute.
That's why.
What was your
One
opinion
moment. You
about the first thing she was saying about the young man?
say that again, caller.
I was trying to hear your opinion, but I didn't hear your opinion because you keep being interrupted.
About.
So you were saying you don't think something?
Oh no, I was saying that. I don't think that I would want to be a police officer, and in the midst of a situation where I'm being shot after, sh- I have someone shooting at me, that I have to put in a code into into my holster in order to be able.
No, no. I said holster. I didn't say long gun. If someone is shooting at you, you're going to use a long gun. Most of these shootings that police shoot people, the other person doesn't even have a weapon. That's also another
What
statistic
do
I
you
looked
mean?
up.
What do you
Well,
mean
I'm
about?
trying to get her opinion
One moment.
also.
What do you mean about long gun? I don't understand. A
They
gun is a
pop
gun.
out with an AK. They get an AR-15 or an AR-16 or AR or a AK-47. That's the three long arms as well as a shotgun.
Yeah, but
They
can
use
they?
Bushmasters
But
too.
no, but no one. What police officer can
They
walk
don't have to use a
person?
stock lock for those. If they're arriving at a shooting, an active shooting, they don't use a pistol. They use a long weapon.
Yeah, but
That's
as a
why I was talking about why they showed up with a SWAT team when they shot Andrew Brown Jr.
I, I want to say big ups to Berlin. Thanks for
Hello,
listening.
Berlin.
Um, I'm just, I have an issue with that. And then long guns. When you pull up on a scene and someone is actively shooting,
That
sometimes you
doesn't
don't have
happen
time.
often.
Sometimes you don't have time to run into your.
That doesn't happen. I'm trying to tell you now, that is the last thing that happens. The majority of police calls do not involve an active shooter. The majority of police calls in the United States, according to statistics from LA, the
I
UCLA, I asked what was the majority of police calls received. I asked two questions. One, what is the majority of police calls received? And two, what is the majority of police calls received where it's a dangerous weapon involved? Dangerous weapon involved is that's the second question. The first question is what is the majority of police calls? The majority of police calls are civil disagreements.
That's it.
Okay,
In the
civil disagreements.
That's it. In the midst of the madness, half of these police minds are not even right. They just thinking of saving their lives,
That's
going
the other thing. Half of them are drunk or on drugs too.
going home to their family. If that was
It's
required
the
of me,
27th most dangerous job. Being a
that
garbage man is more dangerous a cop than a cop.
if
Being a
that
nurse is more dangerous.
can I finish? If that was me, I would kindly turn in my badge and gun.
That's
If
you.
I am pulling up in a situation, may it don't even be an active shooter, and I'm pulling up in a situation that it's dangerous,
I'm being told somebody has a gun, they have someone hold hostage, whatever. I'm not
That's not the
thinking of
majority
running
of the
somebody.
calls.
I'm not
That's
thinking of
not even
running
a
somebody
usual
off.
call.
Acid, listen, I'm not even dealing with usual. I'm not dealing with every day. I'm dealing with period. For me to pull up on a scene and have to
Didi, don't
look
even
at
waste your
and have
time.
to
That's
go
why you're not a cop.
and have
I
to
went to
go
the police academy, so let me handle that part of it, okay? I'm not afraid of that kind of stuff. That's why I can talk about it. That's
once
why I'm
again,
curious about it.
once again, that's you. And you did your training, and me as a civilian looking in, and I know that there are plenty of police officers that who went to training and did all of that too will feel the same way as I do. To have to look down or memorize, like when I used to do, um we used to go and scan these things at these different, oh my gosh, forget the name, but we used to go in with Regis and we used to go and check the inventory when I first came here. Okay, any officer to have to punch in codes. There are times when they pull up and they think the situation is fine, and here comes someone shooting at them. And when they weren't told that it was an active shooter, but they pulled up to a crime, whatever is going on at that particular time, and you want them to punch in a code to pull out a gun to protect themselves.
Yes. I'm gonna
Well,
tell you
for
why.
me, as
I'm gonna
being,
tell you why.
you've already told me why. You've already
No,
told all of
no. I'm gonna tell you why I want them to punch in a code, and I'm gonna tell you why they can do it. If they can
yeah.
punch in the 4 number code to their ATM card or the 4 number code that it takes for them to get into the Sally Port at their station,
Go ahead.
they can get their gun out.
Go ahead. Why?
You know why they can get their gun out?
Mhm.
Because they're going to remember it regardless because they have to use it every day. Here's another issue with it, okay? Police guns are not monitored. Do you know that most cops carry 3 guns on a job? Only one of them is given to you by the police department. The other two are not registered on your record as a law enforcement officer. So say you commit a crime with one of them, you just throw it away. Let me just make that clear to you that there are more cops carrying multiple guns on the street than you know about. And the majority of them don't pull their service weapon first. I wanted to get to that. And the other thing is this about cops, guns, and drugs.
Uh-huh.
I think America needs to know that America has a problem with drugs, cops, and liquor. It's a lot more cops on the road that are drunk and on cocaine and
Yeah.
on other drugs than sober. Now,
Yeah.
the reason I know that is because I asked for that statistic too. Me and this lady spent a lot of time talking. We had 2 cups of coffee together. She was very nice and she was very happy that I was interested in her study. And
And
that's
I
why I kept
agree.
asking her questions because she kept
And
answering.
I'm not arguing. I'm reasoning with you and
No,
on
I understand.
this
This is stuff
part.
that people need to know is out
Yeah.
there.
And
Information is out there for you to check these statistics to be able to see for yourself why cops do what they do and what happens when they do it. Derek Chauvin had 17 incident reports in his file,
it's the
3 of them recently within the same year that he killed George Floyd.
it
One
has
of them within 6 months where he put his foot on a 16-year-old boy's neck for
okay.
11
So
minutes.
so this is something where he always
They
does. So
knew.
where it comes from is that, hey, the police is policing us, someone has to police the police. So
Well, that's the other part of the problem
whomever
that we
is
really need to get to.
whomever
Nobody is
is
policing the police because the police are policing
if
themselves and
any
telling anybody
okay,
else they can't.
that's where the issue is.
That's where qualified reform needs to come in. We
Okay.
need
And that's
qualified
where the
reform.
issue is. The issue is systematically, as I said, it has to start from the Senate. It has to work its way into those police officers. Berlin says that would be hard to monitor by their superior.
Not
Okay.
at all.
And
Not if it's all on the same. Listen, let me tell you about what happens
it is
inside
8:54.
NCIC
We
because
got
it seems
5
like
minutes
she
to go.
wants to know. I want to tell you too, because I don't think you know. Do you know about NCIC?
No, and we don't have the time to know about ACIC.
Yes, we do. It's three
Next week,
minutes.
next week we pull it up. Now, before I understand
NCIC.
all of that, we could get to all of that in a minute. My as I stated, I just think that it is not something that me as a police, if I was a police officer, would go for me having to put any code.
But you're not going to.
And
But you're not of the.
I know that there
You're
are
not. You don't want. You would not be a police officer. First thing, that
that's
wouldn't be
so
something you
you
do.
don't never stop cutting me and just let me finish my thought because I mean, you have your opinion on stuff, my sister, and I have my opinion on stuff. And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. And I'm not saying what you're saying is not doable. I'm just saying that me as a person would not go for that as a police officer, and that I feel that there are several other police officers, there are hundreds of police officers as well that may feel the same way that I do, and I don't need to go to training to know that. So I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying, and you're going off of a research that was done, and there are going to be a lot more
It's
research
ongoing.
that, or you see what I'm saying? There's going to be other researches because this is ongoing. There's going to be other ones that's going to come up to try to debate that on the pros and the cons of it all. So I mean, there's no right or wrong to it right now. I'm just saying, and because I thought it was a question that was asked of me, my opinion, I couldn't see that happening as a police officer. You can, that's all right. But that delays also in you putting my life at risk, if suppose I can't remember the code because once again, we're all human beings whom can have who have situations where we don't remember stuff. We have incidents. Maybe I'm not saying it right, but we all have faults and we may stumble, especially when we are caught off guard. We may be like, which way to, and to remember a code. I'm thinking of how to save my life, and I may not remember this code because I'm trying to pull, and then suppose these machines malfunction. Suppose these machine malfunction and this code is, I'm putting in my code because hell, I do it with my cell phone all the time. And when I put in stuff, I'm thinking I'm putting in the right code. And I know it's the right code, but it doesn't take it right. So I mean, it's a lot of things to consider in the midst of it. Moving the gun from the side from where it is accessible like this, yeah, maybe I could go with something like that. Move it to the front, move it to the back, move it somewhere where it is used as a last resort, especially in situations of your car. I mean, pulling over someone instead of directly going for the gun. Yeah, you can use the taser because it's right here at your side and you do that movement, other things, but something as far as me relying on a machine to unlock something to save my life, that's a big thought. And that's, I think, but go
Let
ahead.
me ask you a question.
Go ahead with the NC something you were saying. I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you realize that weapons training is not but 2 weeks at the end of your 6 months in the police academy? You
Oh,
spending 6 months learning how to do physical battle with people, building up your physical body strength, learning how to box, learning how to do martial arts. You learning all this stuff on how to deal with people physically. And then the last 2 weeks, they hand you a gun. What happened
well,
to all them other five and a
what
half
I, what
months?
have I been saying from we started this subject? It
But what
all
I'm trying to get you to see is that
brain.
cops are trained, and if they're not physically fit enough to do the job, that should be another requirement that should be satisfied every
Yep.
6 months. Every 6 months, they need to do a physical exam. Every month, if they've been in a shooting, they need to go and see a therapist. They
I do.
need to be assessed. This job is the 27th most dangerous job in the world. Guess what? Nurses are the fourth most dangerous job in the world. Garbage
I
people
said
are the second most dangerous job in the world. When
remember I said
I
that
couldn't
to you
even understand it.
but remember I said that to you last week.
Bus
That I
drivers is
that
25 is 25 fifth most dangerous. It's more dangerous being a bus driver than being a cop.
of course, because you got a lot of crazy people that comes on the bus,
People picking up garbage. They in the truck by themselves. So what makes it so dangerous? I can tell you.
the truck itself. But it is 8:59 on the powerhouse clock. Go ahead. You were just gonna complete your thought with saying something else.
NCIC is the National Crime Information Center. Everything that happens goes through that news feed. It goes all the way across the country, top to bottom. It's national. So anytime there's a bolo, which means be on the lookout, bolo. It means be on the lookout. So when you hear them on TV say, "Hey, you got a bolo?" Yeah, they on the lookout for somebody. So you can actually scream that at somebody else. Say, "Look, I got a bolo on you."
Okay.
All right. They know
Okay.
that that information has been posted in there. And the reason for it is that it not just alerts that police locality, it alerts all police localities everywhere, which is what they all wanted. They all wanted to link up. So now that we've got them all linked up, why don't we really use that system for something important like finding out about police shootings? The reason NCIC doesn't tell you about police shootings is because it's a private company owned by LexisNexis. We can go there too.
We're gonna go there. We'll go there next week. We'll complete
You
that.
know, wait a minute. You know, you're getting in my yard now.
Listen, we're gonna go there. We'll go there next week. Jot it down on your
Can we bring our guns?
tablet. On your
We could bring
tablet.
our guns next show.
We didn't get to touch. And I really wanted to, but the time it is 9 o'clock. We're not going over anymore.
No,
The
no guns next show.
CDC and being fully vaccinated. Um, and the new thing that they're saying, people who are fully vaccinated can go. Listen, I want to touch that next week
Can we
because I
touch that just for a second now?
no, we gonna touch it.
Fully vaccinated people, I don't care who you are, put your mask on, wash your hands, and do not be thinking that because you've been vaccinated, you can't catch the COVID because there's people still getting it every single day
And dying from it. But anyway,
and giving it to old people like me,
I
and
just
we
want
don't want it. Y'all
I
keep
just
your COVID.
once again I want to big up each and every one for calling in. Sandra, Don, thanks for checking in. And there was a caller from California
Blossom!
that checked up. I want to say big ups to you. And we want to just encourage you once again, keep it locked over here at the Powerhouse Radio. Check us out
What
on
happened to our
this
friend C.
off,
Queenie?
on a Saturday. Saturdays, you have the Bishop Blair Gospel Explosion from 8 to 10. Then you have yours truly, Lady D, with the Lady D show from 12 to 4. Sundays, you have the Gospel Explosions in the morning. So if you want to get your gospel on, you definitely can tune in at www.dapowerhouseradio.com, or if you have the TuneIn app, you could always just download it. And if you have it already, just look up DA Powerhouse Radio and you would continue to listen to our programming. On Sunday nights, you have All About Love. Nothing But Love is the best love flow that you can ever want. Yes, get your significant other, your husband, wives, and
Well, go
just
stand up on the tile like me by the wall.
take it, just come out and join myself, Lady D, Blossom, Cool G on a Sunday from 7 p.m. up until the 9 o'clock hour. All about love, nothing but love. All righty. And Mondays, you have the three B's. That's Brother Blair Brown and Bezrick with Gospel Talk. And then on Tuesdays, you have with the kids way, with five fantabulous children, that young adults that doing up a great thing. London, Milan,
Rising
um,
stars.
Ellie, Queen M, or M Queen, Tavi. Yeah, so you got to check them out on a Tuesday set 6 to 7. And also you have Let's Gripe on a Wednesday. It was last night was
Bigger.
fantabulous, always a fantabulous program, and check them out Wednesdays, 7 p.m. up until the 8 o'clock hour with Tonia, McKenna, and Marcus. Check them out. So, big things going on over here as we continue to add programming. And if you are interested in a program, to have a program, give us a link at dapowerhouseradio@gmail.com. Let us view your content that you will have, and we'll see if we could put you on a slot over here. All righty. So big up yourselves, and thank you all for listening to Let's Gripe. Mama asked, you want to say one word? 2 words. Go ahead.
Wear a mask
Okay, wear your
and
mask.
social distance.
Wash your hands. And all of those things. All righty. You just continue to be safe. That is the most importantest thing, is to be safe out there and just look after one another. Look after one another. I want to leave out. Acid, what's a good song? I think I'm gonna leave out with
Exodus.
ooh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one for us to leave out with.
Wait a
So
minute, we can't play that.
we
We'll
just
have to play. We'll have to be blanked out of YouTube if we play that.
oh yeah, yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Well, that's all right. We're gonna touch how about let me touch just a twiggy. How about we are the world? How about we are the world? They won't blank.
We are the world. Isn't that also under one of those things too, where they
Yeah,
want you to pay for it?
we're gonna play that. We're gonna play that. We are the world, and there's nothing wrong with paying for it.
Look,
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. We gotta play fair.
look. We didn't even announce about the Olympics.
Now we're gonna touch all of that next week. Next week
Yeah,
we'll get back into
Japan. We got our eyes on y'all.
yeah, we'll get back into all of those things next week.
You should play the Jamaican national anthem.
Ooh, isn't that something?
Yeah, I like to hear that.
How about we do that? How about we do that? Actually, you should have came up with that before we came
Look,
to
you already know me. That's my choice every time. We got about 50 versions of it. We need
before
a hip hop version though.
yeah, before we got to the end of it. But once again, big ups to y'all self. Thank you all for joining us. And I hope that you've enjoyed Reasoning Thursday. All right. Love and no. Ciao, ciao. Queen, ciao, ciao.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with
Almighty and
keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defenders, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us visions, let's repent. Knowledge centers, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica,
Jamaica, Jamaica, land we love.
Reggae Plus.
Special dedication to the MPs in Jamaica.
Well, we're going to get up on out of here.
With all this good music, how you gonna expect us to leave on all this good music? These tunes is killing.
They need to join me. They need to join me on a Saturday for all this music.
I ain't never kidding about that. You get all your housework done. All you got to do is just rock that broom, rock that mop.
Ciao, ciao. I want to kiss you once more.
Special dedication to DJ Ringo from the Heavenly Sound Room. Oh, yes. This is the type of music everybody needs to hear.
All right.
So listen to DAPowerhouseradio.com
Tell them
24/7.
Tell
You
them.
can find us on your internet dial.
All right. And go to the YouTube, like, share,
And
subscribe.
comment and join. Subscribe. We need your subscription.
Yeah, we definitely need it. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Tell me now. I want to find out from you. I want to make you feel good. I want to know what